We've gathered here today because tonight Republican primary voters will, for the very first time in this election cycle, choose who they want to be the Republican nominee for president. Yet, if we're all being honest about it, there is no difference between the Republican candidates in this field when it comes to what it means for working families and for all Americans who want a better life for themselves and for their communities. Tonight's contest is simply a question of whether you like your MAGA Trump agenda wrapped in the original packaging or with high heels or with lifts in their boots. Instead, the real decision will be made in the general election, where the stakes couldn't be higher. Earlier this month, Joe Biden delivered a speech where he made the contrast very clear. The 2024 presidential election is one of the most critical contests this country will ever face. The anti-freedom, anti-democracy ideas that Donald Trump's party stands for are the same, whether it's him or his mini-me's spewing it. It's not just casual rhetoric that they're throwing out there. It's a dark picture of the America they want to see realized. Here we stand on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and this field of candidates is espousing Adolf Hitler's ideas, denying that the Civil War was about slavery, or demonizing and discounting the rights of large groups of Americans. All of these Republican candidates are singing the same terrible song. Does any of that mean a better future for our country? It doesn't take much to see that someone who brags about their role in ripping away freedoms from millions of American women will do even more damage if given the chance. And it doesn't take much to see that someone who's committed crimes, who can only whine about how he's been wronged, is going to do not much to protect or stand up for your family. But that's Trump's MAGA agenda. It's a plan to rip away freedoms, undermine our democracy, and scratch the backs of the most powerful while turning their backs on the working families of our country. In stark contrast, we've got President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. No president running for re-election in modern history has had a stronger record of job creation, making sure workers earn a good living, and doing it in a bipartisan way than Joe Biden. While Trump spent his time in office golfing, Biden is rebuilding our roads and bridges and airports, bringing manufacturing jobs back to this country, and making our nation energy independent, more so than ever before. While Trump is promising to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Biden capped insulin prices at $35 and forced pharmaceutical companies to lower the cost of prescription drugs. While Trump cozied up to the NRA, Biden passed the first major gun safety legislation in decades. While Trump brags about overturning Roe, Biden is fighting for reproductive rights, vowing to block the Republican national abortion ban. And while Trump plots how to use the Oval Office to seek revenge on his political enemies, Joe Biden is working across the aisle and laying out the goals for his next term: growing our economy, protecting women's reproductive freedom, raising wages for American workers. That's what voters care about, and that's what voters want for this country. The American people have a very clear choice this coming November. No matter which version of the Trump MAGA agenda wins tonight, original, heels, or boots, the platform they are fighting for will cause irreparable harm to this country. The American people came together to reject this MAGA extremism in 2018, in 2020, in 2022, again in 2023, and they'll do it yet again in 2024.